Hi, this is Jim Starkweather with KitMaker Network and Ornamental.com. I've got some new products here from Reality and Scale, a manufacturer vendor from the Netherlands. You may or may not be familiar with them, but if you're not, you might want to use this feature to kind of bring you up to speed on what kind of products they carry and what's out there. There's quite a variety of stuff here, anywhere from small 72nd scale diorama items to 35th scale major pieces like this old pier dock, and they've got ornamental city clock and things like that. We've got little small 35th scale items like cats and dogs and fuel drums, and we've even got things like dark forest and nature in a pot, which is kind of interesting. But posters, carpets, things like that. But I'll go over each one of these and show you some photos, and you can get a better look for yourself at them. And some of these items are already posted up on our review sample sheet, so I'm taking requests for these right now, and I know, for instance, the old pier will be going to Todd Michalak, but I believe the rest of them are available as of this moment that I am doing this review. This video. I can't promise that they will be available for very long though. Okay, so the first item let's take a look at would be, let's go ahead and look at the Dio 72 scale series items. So these are very small, mostly resin, but I noticed resin in slightly different forms, and great for 72nd scale items, but let's take a look at some closer up photos. Next one here is the Belgian house in 1/72nd scale, and this is very similar. It's a house. They've got this one's done out with a kind of a wall poster billboard, I guess it probably would have been called, and it has a lower fence here with a gate. And again, this is 1/72nd scale. And then the last Dio 72 item is this Dutch farm stable in 1/72nd scale. This is a very large piece. Let me open it up actually. I've looked at this before, and I'm very impressed. It's two pieces, I should say. A small piece that goes on, I believe, this side of the building, like that, and then the larger piece. This kind of piece, it's going to be the painting and finishing off of this, and also obviously the base that you're going to put this on and so forth. All right, let's look at the old pier briefly, and I can see some photos of that. Okay, and then we've got the ornamental city clock. That looks pretty interesting. Very small hands, even for the clockwork and stuff. Very well thought out, I thought. Here's a cabinet set. And here's one called Cargo Loads 2. Again, these are all 1/35th scale. And then this one is the cats and dogs. And then we have crushed U.S. fuel drums World War II. Okay. And this one I thought was nice. It's basically, I can open this one up fairly easily. It's very nice quality. Let me talk briefly about what I'm seeing in terms of the quality of these resin products. This one is the Food Supplies 4. So soon they put out different food supplies one. So essentially it's various, I'm not sure what kind of, we call these types of containers before. They're kind of like medieval barrels almost, but not made out of wood. They're the, that material that people used to put sacks of potatoes and things like that. I guess it's a kind of a different version of a sack, but it's got that rough kind of material on it. So, but just the quality of the resin. So, I mean, I just, it's really good. I mean, I'm kind of even wondering how they do their mold process because it's just so intricate. I mean, if you look at that from just a top-down view, I mean, look at all the little nooks and crannies and stuff in there. So again, a very good quality. The only part you see that's really unfinished is the bottom, kind of that glossy, resin effect. So very high quality resin. I don't see any production issues with, especially pieces like this or like the other larger pieces I've looked closely at, like the 1/72 scale stuff. Okay, so this one is potato vegetable sacks, so very similar. And then this one is German weapon boxes and boxes and decals. Some of the kind of flat items. This one is SIG. This is the model number SIG N01. This is an enameled ad NSU. So it's essentially what we looked at this actually, Rick Cooper and I once, and it looks like it's a magnet with a printed material on it, which you can get magnets made and so forth. So I'm sure that this company essentially found a company that makes these. These, refrigerator magnets or whatever the scenario is. Trying to get this out of here, which is proving difficult. So it's on that kind of flexible magnet type material, but the effect it gives you is like one of those old, I'm sure they were enameled or what they were, but they were very glossy kind of signs that used to go up on buildings in the early part of the 1900s. And so, the effect is actually very, very realistic using this magnet type material, but it is, I believe, we tested it, and it is a magnet. Yes, it is a magnet. Kind of basic stuff that modelers are used to. This one is enamel signs, not obviously being that the same material I just showed you, but Germany set 1. We have more like that. We have enamel street signs and numbers. And then this one is some very small posters. They're showing a 1/35 scale on these, and I guess they would be poster size for 1/35 scale. So enameled advertising signs, France. And then the last couple of things here, actually there's one more. This one is business signs on wood, 1920s and to 1950s France. And so what they've done on this one is they've actually printed on kind of a balsa-like wood, I think, because on the back you can actually see the wood grain. But on the front, they printed onto directly onto using some kind of color printer, obviously. So the signs are a bit faded and probably would need some additional maybe weathering or something to make them very 100% convincing. But great effect actually having them on the wood, and you could obviously even damage the wood and probably do a lot of little things to essentially kind of make the sign even more realistic. The last bits are these rugs, which again I believe are printed on real cloth. It says carpets on real cloth, so yes. And these are like they have long runner rugs and large area rugs, Persian style usually, I think. This one is again they're saying 1/48 scale to 1/35 scale, or 54 millimeter. And then the last of this flat stuff is the old road sidewalk small, large stones. So you have, again, you have some grass material that's included with this. We have some grass material that I assume is supposed to go kind of maybe inside, or like, you know, put in maybe the kind of runner areas. You know how mold or grass would grow inside the areas there. The pictures are mostly just reference photos. They do show like a little bit of grass right here in this section. They show grass on the sides, but the effect I'm thinking that most people would probably want to see is that kind of grass between the stones effect. So I don't know if, you know, this is a piece of cardboard with, again, printed on, or I'm not sure quite how, this might be even laser etched on, because it just feels like it's texturized. I mean, yeah, there's even a little indentation. So there are small indentation, or small grooves or gaps between the stone area. So I'm imagining maybe somebody like laying down small beads of glue and then kind of putting this on, and then you may not do it on the entire surface, but maybe you'd have an area that has the kind of grass encroached or mold encroached kind of appeal. So that finishes up those, and the last two things we have are the nature in a pot, which again is I'm going to open this up very daintily, but it is essentially just, you know, small grassy-like or ground-like cover, and it, you know, it's very easy to work with. It does bunch kind of together a little bit, looks like. So if you're looking to create, like, even with glue or something, you could probably even create small, like shrubbery and even small scale kind of scenarios and stuff. And this one is Forest in a Pot, which is also, you know, again, essentially just a box full of, see if I can get that. I'll get a good photo of it, if not, though. But they even include some little mushrooms here on the end, so you can maybe see those. So all in all, some really interesting products here from Reality and Scale. I think that, you know, it's great that there are companies like this out there, these niche companies that are producing, you know, the kind of Berlinden BLS stuff that really is harder and harder to find sometimes here, especially here in the United States. You know, thanks to them for sending us these products. Peter, I believe, was the gentleman, and we look forward to seeing more in-depth, maybe build-up reviews. I definitely like to see some of these Dio 72 items actually finished and painted, because, to be honest, doing an inbox review on an item like this that is already, you know, very little to put together, and mostly about like using it and so forth, and how it comes out in a final diorama. So that's what I've been a little bit picky about, where some of this stuff is going, because I'd like to see it actually utilized and not just 3 paragraphs of not much text saying, you know, blah blah blah. All right, well, so that said, thanks for watching, and if you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them below. And again, thanks to Reality and Scale for sending us these.